Yeah, recording started. If everyone can hear my voice all right, I think I can start calling to order. SFSS Exec Committee meeting on Friday, January 12th, 2023 at 1:10 p.m. Starting off with territorial acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the SFS is located on the traditional unceded territories of the Coast Salish peoples, including the Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, Coquitlam, and Katzie nations. Unceded means that these territories have never been handed over, sold, or given up by these nations, or are currently situated on occupied territories. Let me see if I can share my screen for easy access. Yeah, I'm assuming we can all see the agenda now. Starting off with roll call, we can start off with myself. I'm here. Access needs are just fine. Is the internal in the room at this point? Let me take a look. Doesn't look like it. I'll go to VP Finance. This will also be a no for now. VP University. Thomas. Can people hear me?
Yeah, no, you're good. I think Thomas still isn't connected to the audio.
That sucks. All right. VP External. From the looks of the participant, it doesn't look like it. VP Equity inside of the chat. Thank you very much. And VP Events.
Hi, I pronounce him. His all his names are met.
Excellent. Okay. Society staff, temporary operations.
Cindy here, pronounce she, her, hers, access needs met.
Very nice. Do we have policy research, community affairs? Seems we do not. How about admin assistant? In the chat, thank you very much. We can now move on to consent agenda. Be it resolved to adopt the consent agenda by unanimous consent. Seeking unanimous consent. Receiving no dissent carries. It's time for the adoption of the agenda. Firstly, I move. Anyone care to second?
Internal.
I hear internal second, so be it resolved to adopt the agenda as presented. Do we have any amendments or discussions? Yes, Ashley.
Yeah, hey, as I sent an email out earlier, I'm going to be amending on a motion, but just give me a second to find it.
Okay.
So that'll be the title.
Nice.
I'm just copying and pasting in the chat now.
I'm assuming we've mostly read this one. If that's the case, I feel like I'm comfortable with moving and seconding now. If you move it, I'll second it. I'm seeking unanimous consent. There is no dissent. This this item is currently adopted on Priyanka. Advertising for elections. Oh, very nice, very nice. Informal discussion on Discord. Priyanka, is this going to be a motion or a discussion item? Just discussion? Okay, then. I second, seeking unanimous consent. Well, there's no dissent. This has been tacked on. Thomas?
Just got a one motion. Okay, it was brought to me very last minute, so I might just suggest we postpone this till council next week. But would like to hear you guys' input first.
Take a look at this.
Wait, let me pull up the agenda. Actually, I need to see how much new business we got. What do we have under new business? Oh, nothing. Okay, this will be 8.1. Oh. Gotta be kidding me. Sorry, just a second. It's taking me a while to copy and paste it.
Oh, I see this. Oh boy, this is a bit last moment.
It's very last minute. Emmanuel said he'd try to join the meeting to explain it, but
Yes, Ashley.
Yeah, as I'm not a huge fan of last minute motions with money attached to them, may I recommend that we amend this on as a discussion item? And then just like talk about this motion that RHA would like to pass. And then we can put it forward to either council or next exec. That'd be a recommendation. Just a question.
I second that opinion.
I'm with that. I'm fine with that.
Nice, nice, nice. Seeking unanimous consent to add on this as a discussion item. While I'm getting no dissent, all right then. Very good. Io,
I was listening for this motion.
Lol.
would you like to list anybody?
I was listening for this motion. I was saying, I think it's best we just take it to council straight.
You don't want a discussion. I feel like a small discussion might not be too harmful,
I
especially
feel
since,
not
you know,
harmful, but just time wise. Because if we're not making this decisions on it here, we still have to discuss it at council anyhow.
Fair point. I mean, we can have a short discussion about it. I mean, Emmanuel's here.
yeah,
Oh yeah, okay.
yes, yes. I cannot remember. Cindy, were there any extra things that you had planned on adding on for this meeting?
I think they've already been added, so we're good.
Nice. Okay. I'm going to assume that there's nothing else. So be it resolved to adopt the agenda as amended. Seeking unanimous consent. There is no dissent. We officially have our schedule. Let me take a look at any of this stuff here. No. Okay, I think we can start off with our discussion items that are currently on the agenda. We can start off with 9.1, which is going to be the logo change. I will lead this off. Basically, in case some of us might not remember too clearly, there was this little proposal that I had quite a while ago that basically wanted to send out one giant form that asks for applications for basically the mass student body. They can all submit proposals for a possible logo change, and then we can bring out whatever submissions that seem valid, and we bring them up to council, and then we can find out we can go through a big voting process for it.
Liam,
And
sorry to interrupt. Liam, can we
Yeah.
do the RHA motion now real quick while Emmanuel's here, and then go on to the other stuff because he has to go soon.
oh, he has to go soon.
Yeah.
Well, let me think about that. Yeah, okay then.
Can we
I'm
suspend
making
the
the
rules?
rules to have this thing first. Hold on. You move, I second it, seeking unanimous consent. There's no dissent. That's really, really nice. Let's talk about the Whistler trip.
Emmanuel, floor is yours.
Okay, Hey guys, I don't know if you guys could hear me, but I'm kind of on the transit, but I set out time to be able to do this, but I was told the meeting would be postponed till 2, so, but it's okay. I hope you guys can hear me. Did you guys confirm if you could hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I sent this motion to Thomas. It's for a Whistler trip that we usually do annually. And I guess maybe after this, the motion could be read, but I just want to give a quick debrief about what it's about and things like that. But the event happens every year, usually around the same time. Last year was also the first couple of days in February. It's going to be the same this year as well. The event again is just taking students up to Whistler, and we get to spend a full day up there. So students are able to ski, snowboard, and do whatever else they feel to do. Last year was the first time we brought this back after a long time, after multiple requests from students, and we ended up taking up about 300 or so students last year. And so took about, I think, 6 to 7 coach buses. So that worked out last year. So we're gonna do it again this year because students have been asking about it again. So I just want to bring this motion forward because last year the SFSS was able to help us subsidize this event. So that's kind of like a brief overview on what the event is about. Yeah, so I just want to give that little overview before I guess the motion is read, and I could also take any questions. But that's all from me.
All right, thank you, Emmanuel, for presenting. I guess for further discussion on the motion, we should have it afterwards, or want to get back to the logo change then?
This is a discussion item at the moment. There's not going to be a motion.
Oh yeah, sure. I meant like discussion item. You want to continue that afterwards, or?
Yeah, I had a small question though. Just who is eligible to apply to go on this Whistler trip?
So it's all SFU students.
Nice. Okay then.
Yeah.
That's all from me.
So, yeah. Did you want to do the motion now as well, Thomas, or?
No, so here's the thing. We're having it as a discussion item today.
Oh, okay.
If we're to pass it as a motion, we'll probably during the next council meeting or the next exec meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, today's just as discussion item.
Io?
Wednesday.
Yeah, I was gonna confirm with Sindhu again, how much can we pass an exec, just so we know exactly where motion, because I know there's a limit to how much money you can pass an exec.
Yeah, anything over 5,000 would go to council. So I believe this motion was passed at exec last year as well.
Okay, good to know.
I see. Priyanka?
Yeah, I know we just got the motion, but I was quickly reading it over. I think this is a great motion. It looks good. I'm in favor of it. It's open to a few students. Seems like a fun activity, and I hope we pass it this year too.
Nice. Ashley?
Like to echo Priyanka's sentiment. Seems like a cool motion. Always excited to see field trips. Don't get to see them as often as you'd like. So that's very cool. Just have a quick question about. So it says the trip is going to cost 11K, but you're only asking for 5K. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So the goal is not to make it completely free because, again, I don't think that would be something the SFSS is able to do. So we usually just, again, I think the motion speaks to this. So it's more of a subsidy. So instead of students paying the full amount, they'll just be paying like half of it because part of that will be subsidized by the 5,000.
Okay, so you are doing like ticket prices and stuff. And then the other question I
Correct.
have. Sorry, what? You are doing tickets?
Yeah, I said correct. Go on.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah. And then the other question I have is, so you mentioned that it's for all SFU students, but it's being put on by RHA. Are you guys doing like, say, priority for kids who live on res or something along those lines?
So there's no priority at all. It's open to all SFU students. Same as we did it last year. I think Ayo and Thomas came on the trip last year. So there's no priority on this trip. It's just whoever signed, it's like first come, first serve.
Cool. That's all my questions.
Yeah.
Oh, this is very nice. Around when's the application timeline going to be?
So applications is going to open latest by Monday this coming week. And then it's going to be open for about 2 weeks. And then, yeah.
Got it. I guess this is a question for kind of like the rest of the execs. Do we feel like doing anything about this motion now in this meeting? Or are we comfortable, or are we still on track to postpone either that or bring it to council? Yes, Ashley?
I would like to not pass it today, in part because I'd love to see like a budget, in terms of like what they're actually putting the $5,000 towards. I also just would like some time to think about it. I feel like amending big money motions on kind of during the meeting is not something I would like to set as a precedent. So I would like to, at least for no other reason than that, postpone until next council or next exec. But also it'd be nice to see some budgeting stuff.
Okay, your opinion's noted. Emmanuel?
Yeah, I just wanted to state, or maybe just answer the question. The money will be going completely to transportation, which I think is also mentioned in the motion. And in terms of documentation, I think the motion also mentions that the 5,000 will not be released until after the event, because last year what we did was basically we just got the receipts that the transportation company sent us, and then we forwarded that over as the proof of the payment of the transportation fees. So the money will be completely going towards transportation. So you could, but it makes sense to, I guess, postpone the motion to the next meeting if needed. But that's what the money will be going towards, and it's completely going to be for transportation. And the proof, I think, also mentioned in the motion would be the receipt of payment to the transportation company. And then, of course, last year we also supplied all the list of SFU students' names, so we're happy to do that again if needed. Yeah.
Great. Ashley?
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. I'm really glad to hear it. Oh, I totally forgot what I was gonna say. I'm very glad to hear that you are providing lots of proof like that. My question would then be, how urgent would you like this motion passed? I would be open to passing today if it was like, yeah, we need this by next week or something. But if it's like, hey, we have a week or 2 weeks, then we could probably be pretty safe on that. So I'm just wondering, is there an urgency to this motion, or?
So I guess there's no urgency. So I guess it is okay to postpone to your next exec meeting, whenever that is, as long as that's before, I guess, the 2 weeks timeline before the event takes place. So yeah.
Okay. Next exec meeting is going to be 2 weeks from now, Friday 26th. If that can work, then we'll go with that.
Yeah, that should be fine because the event is not until the 3rd, so that works.
Nice. All right. It's pretty much decided then. Yeah, this is good. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, assuming that this discussion is about concluded, I'll move on to what I was talking about earlier, which was the logo change. Right, yeah, everyone has forms. They submit the form, they submit an application. We bring all the submissions, not all of them, but some of them, to council, possibly find a new proposal for the logo change. Then goodbye, Emmanuel. Thank you for your time as well. Small problem came in the road, and that was that Sindhu had mentioned to me that the costs associated with a logo change on SFSS scales are they're pretty significant. And if that's going to be the case, I prefer to have a little bit of a conversation about it before actually going through with anything that we send to the mass student body. So yeah, that's a nutshell. Yeah, Sindhu.
Yeah, so I mean, what I was mentioning to Liam is, of course, it's usually a cost associated with changing your branding for an organization. So just in terms of course, there would have to be some sort of courtesy given to the clubs and student unions who have already purchased signage from us and merchandise from us for us to replace that. So that's about, I think I would say about like 80% of our clubs have the signage, and they were like, the banners were like $336 each, so about 150 clubs, so that in itself is like 50K. 50 student unions, there would be about like 10 to 15 groups that had merchandise purchased at over $2,000 each. And then of course our own internal things, which is replacing our tablecloths and our signage, so even that would just be a little over 1,000 as well. So we'd be looking at a cost of about 50 to 90K if we were to go forward with this. So it's just something to consider. It's not that it can't be done. It's just another cost that we would have to think about as well.
Okay, very nice. Would this cost of around 50K be something that's something that we have to pay almost immediately? Or is it something that we can gradually change over time? Because I imagine, oh yeah, Sindhu.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it would, for our internal stuff, of course, we should replace that sooner, as soon as we change the branding. But yeah, depending on the group's needs, right? We could do that over time as students come to us about changing their items or promoting their events. It would come up, right? And I think we could leave the onus on the students, as if they want a change, they can reach out to us and then we can have that change to us. And I imagine that would be more staggered, so
I
it wouldn't
see.
have to be all at once.
Yeah. Ashley.
You guys hit on my two big things, which was just like how much actually would it be? So you said about 50 to 90K. And then I suppose the other thing is doing a staggered rollout of this new logo could maybe offset some of the costs for the time being. But at the end of the day, we would still have to pay the full cost, even if we don't pay it tomorrow. It's next year or whenever all these clubs decide to, rebrand their stuff. It does feel like a lot of money that we're spending just to change a logo that's quite frankly more than sufficient. I'm actually a huge fan of our logo and was against changing it in the first place. And hearing that there's a big money cost that would be tied onto this certainly doesn't motivate me to want to change it more. So while I would be totally fine if we wanted to do this, I think it is a great way for student engagement, which I'm very big on. I'm not really a fan of changing our logo in the first place, especially if there's a 50K minimum cost associated with it. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Priyanka.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm hearing the numbers, I'm probably against this motion. 50 to 90K is like a lot of student money. I do like the idea of some sort of competition. Like we could do like, enter this competition, design a graphic for SFSS, and it could be like the SFSS Instagram's like profile picture for a month, and we can like give out gift cards for like for second place or something. I do like the idea of like the student engagement part, but 50 to 90K for something that's not super imminent or we haven't been hearing a lot of like need about, I'm kind of like wary about that.
All right. Here's my thought. I think the main value of this whole thing is the student engagement part. That being said, I don't want to dish out 50 to 90K to make this happen. I think it's something we can all agree on. So if that's going to be the case, maybe what we're looking for is not a complete and dry logo change. We could still have the submission open, but then when they send in their applications, it could be for a logo that we don't use to permanently, like formally address the SFSS. Like for example, we get the logo submission, we find out some sort of winner, if there is going to be some sort of winner. We can put that logo onto one big custom design poster, hang it in at one place for an X amount of time. But we don't formally change the SFSS logo itself, because that's where the cost mainly lies. We could also do something that's even more cost friendly, where we for for a certain time period, we would change the logo design just on the SFSS website to a certain logo for a certain time, kind of like what Google does with their home screen. It still has a bit of engagement, but it's a my proposal is we could do something that's a bit more cost friendly in that way. Yeah, Priyanka.
Yeah, I'm cool with anything. I'm super in favor of the student engagement, super in favor of like any competition. We still have like a small cash reward too. I think that's a great idea. I just like, yeah, it's just a big cost that's kind of like pushing back. So I think all those ideas, if like since they're logistically possible, I'm more than in favor of that. We can like do this like multiple times throughout the year as well. If we ever want to like have themes depending on the month, like, oh, like stuff like Christmas logo or something. Obviously like we're past Christmas, but like for future boards going forward too.
Yeah, Ashley.
I really liked your Google suggestion, as it were, where it's like Google always changes their logo every month or day or whatever. It'd be really cool also because we don't just have to pick one
Sorry,
for one
Ashley, you're
week and
cutting out.
Oh, sorry. What I was saying was just that we could do like one winner for a week and then the second place for the next week, etc. And we could kind of cycle through the top 10 winners and just change our website on the logo, or our logo on the website. I think would be pretty cool. That way we can kind of have more than just one winner. If we can give them all a $25 gift card or something like that, would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm fine with that kind of a suggestion. Yeah, maybe a complete systematic logo change is not exactly what the solution is here. I could see the potential in changing the logo on the SFSS website, like kind of like what Google does. I think something a bit more impactful would be just making a custom poster, preferably a huge one, hanging it from somewhere within the sub, and like on it we can have descriptions of this is what the students came up with, this is what faculty won, maybe a few other ones for like the runner-ups, something like that. But as far as the SFSS logo itself goes, I think doesn't change. Your mention of weekly changes does not sound pleasant. We could have semesterly competitions, and I feel like that would be a bit easier to manage. Yeah, Ashley.
It would just be one competition, like you were saying. It would just be like one thing, you put out the form, you get like, I don't know, however many submissions we get, we pick our top 10, and then it's just a simple like website change every week, maybe every other 2 weeks. Like it isn't, I'm not saying a competition every week, I'm just saying one competition with like 10 winners that we hold up for a week. We could do longer than a week if you'd like. That I just want to make sure it was just one competition. But we could do one semesterly if you want, but that's not what I was suggesting. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay then. Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot of stuff to discuss here. Hypothetically, if we were to go with a custom poster, I'm not sure what that would look like, but if we go to that, is this something that we can see ourselves agreeing to? Down for a poster. I'm getting 2 yeses here.
I'm all for the poster.
All right. Website change and a poster, something cost
I
friendly.
just think it's good for the student engagement. I really want to do the student engagement part. So
Nice.
poster, website, anything we can do, really, honestly.
Okay. All right. Nice. Yeah, before I send out the jot form that asks for applications, I'll send it to all of you guys so you guys can take a look at the format, put down suggestions where you want, and then yeah, we can decide on a time to send that stuff out. Is there anything else that we want to say for this one, for this topic? Silence suggests no, then we can talk about 9.2, which is the table tennis program. Ashley? Oh, Sindhu.
Yeah, so if exec recalls, back in the summer, I believe, we had the table tennis, our table tennis outside the overhang space. And we agreed to move that to the underground space until January 31st. So that's coming up. We did get a request from ancillary services to not only extend this, but to fully take on the table tennis program, which includes like opening up the space, ensuring that we have items there, make sure nothing's broken. I think they are open to negotiating repairs and taking that on, but this is something they're hoping that we can continue to take on long term. I think I'm open either way. One thing that was mentioned to me from the staff side is just that it was a bookable space. So that's just something that we would lose. So there's a couple of ways we can go about it. We can say no, or we can see if we can want to do this for another period of time, or yeah, we can go from there. I see there's a lot of other lists, so I'll let you share your thoughts.
Okay, Thomas?
Okay, I had a couple talks with Mark McLaughlin about this, and okay, so what he said is you know, like the place where the ping pong tables used to be, like by James Douglas, said ideally they wanted to have them there, but like they're still doing construction or repairs in there, and that's why they had us like have them in the underground space, and I wanted to put like pool tables in the underground space. So what I like the discussion I had with him, the result was I thought that I would bring it here, of course, and say perhaps we should what we could do is we could just have the place like open like during our normal like hours, like close, like open and close by the building team, of course, and then we could just keep the rackets and the balls at the front desk, like at the go desk, and students could just come in, like show the student ID or whatever, and borrow it for X amount of hours, and then make sure they return it, because that way you have like, you know for sure that no materials are getting lost. And then that would be like a temporary measure until they're done the repairs in James Douglas, move the ping pong tables there, and then we could still perhaps retain the like the rackets and balls and like students coming to the go desk. But I was like hoping eventually to like add like pool tables in the underground space, and then maybe figure out something around that.
Yes, Ashley?
Very funny that both me and Thomas are interested in putting pool tables down there. But just a quick question. So it was SFU, I don't know, Recreation or whoever, who was originally in charge of these tables, and they want to basically offload that responsibility onto us, is what I'm hearing. Not a huge fan of that, for a variety of reasons, but I also understand the kind of the need for the temporary measure as a result of the construction. I would be way more open to agreeing to another temporary thing while the construction is going on. But I'm especially not a huge fan of putting more labor onto our building staff, as I'm pretty sure right now the way those like equipment works is there's just like a box next to the table, and if you go to the table you can pick up the racket. I think that works fine. I'm not too worried about equipment getting stolen. It's just a tennis racket or whatever. But no, I wouldn't be a huge fan of taking this responsibility from SFU, as I feel like we already do a lot of stuff. But I would be fine housing it on another temporary basis because of the construction. But I wouldn't be a big fan of us taking on this activity kind of indefinitely, if that makes sense.
Yes. Priyanka?
Yeah, I'm open to a temporary extension for now, then we can reevaluate if we want to make it permanent or we want to take over the program. I don't mind the suggestion that like students come to the front desk and like I know SFU, sorry, for the foosball tables, you have to give your student ID in for like to get a foosball. I'm not sure what would be easier for staff, like whatever they would prefer in terms of managing it, if it is like responsibility they would have to take on. So like probably hearing back from them would be best. And then in addition to adding pool tables, I do want to add a foosball table to SFU Burnaby as well. But that's it.
Okay, okay. So what's the main consensus here? Do we want to take up the responsibilities? Actually, no, what I'm hearing is we're kind of leaning towards temporary stuff. Sindhu?
Yeah, so I mean, what I can do is I can ask staff what the easiest process is, and we can continue for a temporary measure right now. So I'll bring back a motion to the next exec meeting, and then we can go from there.
Nice. Okay then. Yeah, sounds good to me as well. Someone remind me what the next discussion item is going to be. I believe, Priyanka, is it yours?
Yeah, I think so.
Nice.
Can I talk?
Yep.
Like, can I? Okay. Yeah, I would say like we always have a very low turnout for elections. So I was thinking of like things we could do this year to advertise it better. I was thinking maybe like classroom visits either during the nomination period. So like maybe we get more candidates out because more candidates equals more people campaigning, which equals more voters, or even like just like a couple days like leading up to the actual election period so people vote. Like just like 5 minutes at the beginning of the class, ask the prof, like, hey, like, can we make a quick announcement? Like, oh, hey, everyone, elections this week, XYZ, this is what they do, like, run, like, we do actually. Or like asking profs to maybe share stuff on Canvas, just because, like, we have a very, very low turnout compared to our membership, like, number. But yeah, we don't have to, like, obviously figure this out today, but if we want to do during nomination period, probably have to figure it out pretty soon. If it's more during election period, we could talk about this next exec too. But I want to get it on our radar and get everyone's thoughts and opinions. And that is the end of my spiel.
Nice. Ashley?
Are you gonna work?
Ashley?
Sorry, it was just taking me a second to unmute. Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Priyanka. I might recommend doing it closer to the actual like voting period. Just because I know one of the things that often happens during these kinds of things is you tell students, hey, in 2 months, don't forget to vote on this, and then they forget because we're all very busy. So doing it kind of closer to the time might kind of increase our chances that they actually remember to then follow through. The other thing I'll mention briefly is that I will be doing a dev session somewhere within this time period as well for counselors, so that they can communicate to their student unions, etc., to like campaign and organize, and hopefully we can get. Can you guys hear me, by the way? I feel like I'm cutting out a lot.
We can hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just so students and counselors can like shout out their student unions, like, hey, don't forget to tell everyone to vote, and hopefully we can kind of get like a telephone effect, not a telephone effect, but like a telephone chain going where it's like, hey, we tell the counselor who tells their student union who tells their general membership, so that'll also hopefully be helpful. But I'm a big fan of some kind of like lecture presentations would also be cool.
Nice. Sindhu?
Yeah, I think these are all great ideas, and of course, spreading information like through word of mouth, absolutely. I think we just want to be mindful of the elections policies and the IEC, so just have to be mindful of having execs or counselors actually campaigning. So like for the actual classroom visits themselves, it should be coming from IEC rather than any counselor or executive member. So I would recommend if anyone does have feedback right now that they send that to either BD or to me, and we have meetings with IEC bi-weekly. There's one coming up on January 18th where we can share this information so that we can encourage them to have more engagement on campus.
Priyanka?
Okay, first, Ashley, love the dev session idea, and yeah, I do agree. Like people are gonna forget if we go super early, so yeah, probably better closer to election period. Second, Sindhu, just to confirm the policy, I know we're not allowed campaigning, but aren't we still allowed promoting the elections? Like I thought that was in line with our current policies. If not, then like yeah, we can put it over to IEC, and like I can like maybe write something up and just be like, hey, can you share this with them? And yeah.
Sindhu?
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, IEC and I have already been working on the communications for like our social media posts and stuff. And they've also created handouts for us to kind of distribute at our tables at clubs days. So I think, yeah, those things can definitely, by fact, we can promote like that, but we should refrain from, yeah, I think there's like some boundaries in certain tactics that we do. So if you have like certain strategies that you want to look at, then I think we can discuss that further, but I just want to make sure that those specific tactics aren't violating any of the policies.
Okay. I think as far as advertising goes, it's good to advertise closer to the deadline. I agree. But I do see a benefit in advertising about 2 months in advance and then continuously advertise all the way up until the deadline. Simply because it's a longer time period, we're kind of like exposing people to go, hey, go do the elections, go join it and stuff like that. Yeah, Priyanka?
I think like the main benefit of advertising earlier is that we can get more candidates, so more people running because our ballot was essentially empty last year. I don't know about continuous. I feel like people get like fatigued and like if we're like constantly throwing in their face, but like I think a push maybe during election period and then another push leading up to elections. Like just like not at the beginning of the campaigning period, like near the end is probably best, but I'm down for like whatever everyone else is down for. And then also as long as we're in line with like IEC policies.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. Hold on, Sindhu.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I agree with you, Priyanka, and I think you bringing this up now is very valid because the candidate nomination and referendum submission period is January 15th to 28th. So that is coming up really quickly. So yeah, I think this is the right time. So if you have further discussion on this or thoughts on this, maybe we can meet offline too to discuss this further.
Okay, okay, sounds good. Do we have any further discussions? It looks like we don't. Okay, then I think we're done with discussion items. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but if nobody corrects me, I think I'm gonna start moving into in camera for some stuff soon. All right, the chat's still empty, so I'm gonna move to go in camera for the remainder of the meeting. I'm looking for a seconder.
Equity.
I hear equity seconds, seeking unanimous consent. Okay, there is no dissent. Let me stop the recording. Yeah, recording is resumed. I'm moving to go X camera for the remainder of the meeting. May I get a seconder?
Internal.
I hear internal seconds. All right, I'm seeking unanimous consent. There is no dissent. We are officially X camera. Okay. I would scrolling up to see if we have anything left. Yeah. There's still Ashley's motion. So motion to approve student care agreement. I'm assuming Ashley moves. I will second it. Let me just read it aloud first. Whereas the current agreement with student care is expiring, whereas student care and the exec committee negotiated a new 2-year agreement ending on August 31st, 2026, be it resolved that the acting VP internal, in discussion with the rest of the exec committee, accept the new agreement. Be it further resolved that the VP internal, Ashley Flett, and VP Finance, Jadvinder Bolina, signed the agreement on behalf of the council. Yes, Ashley.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the motion itself is fairly self-explanatory. I just figured I would give a little bit of context. I've been in communication with student care over the last couple of months. They've been showing me some stuff. I did send you guys the relevant documentation over email yesterday, so hopefully you guys have had a chance to read that. As I mentioned in the email, the agreement itself is essentially the same. There was a few kind of updating tweaks, particularly to invoicing. The other thing I will mention is Appendix A is missing, as we still are sorting out that stuff, but that's going to be kind of a future conversation amongst exec and student care, particularly as we prepare for the next policy year, as what coverage we're able to offer is going to be changing, considering that our student care referendum has been unable to pass. So that's going to be a future conversation, so stay tuned for that. But in general, if you have any questions, about this agreement, do let me know, but it's the same as what you've already been doing, and that's been working pretty good. So, yeah.
Very, very good. Do we have any further questions, comments, concerns before we get to voting? Going once, going twice, 3 times, there's still nothing. Thomas says, let's vote. I agree. I'm just gonna go seek unanimous consent here. And I am also receiving no dissent here. I will say that this motion passes unanimously. Oh, also, it will be brought to council. I think that was stated inside of the motion. All right, good. Very good to know. Nice. No, so motion, the motion. Okay, okay. I'm going to go to adjournment. Before that, yeah, Thomas.
Wait, what? I thought we just passed it here. So why do we need to bring it to council as a full motion?
This the oh, never mind. I'll just let Sindhu. Yeah.
Yeah, so last time this was negotiated, it was negotiated at board, which spoke on behalf of everyone. So if board is now council, it's going to council, it's coming here so that we can show intent that we have been moving this forward to student care in the event that we are unable to pass it at council before the designated timeline. So we just want to follow process, and also because it is multi-year, it should also go through council.
I see. Priyanka.
I have a list that's not related to anything at all at our agenda whatsoever. But I saw some posts that SP rock climbing wall is like closed for no reason. So maybe we can figure something about that out over the next week or something. No, don't need a meeting for it. I just want to say that. Okay, now we can adjourn. Thank you.
I didn't think it was closed for no reason. I thought it was closed because of the climate. Then again, I'm not following up on it. I do not know. Thomas.
Leo, I thought list. I was going to get into that. I haven't fully looked into it yet, but I think it's probably because of like cuts to student services. So that's what I think it's probably due to, and also like, but it's not because of the like. SV Recreation will say it's because of the renovations, but the renovations is just in the East Gym and the pool right now. They have not touched the West Central Gym or West Gym, so it's not because of that. Just make sure you guys know it's probably cuts to student services funding. But yeah, I'll get onto it.
Oh my dear goodness, this place is falling apart. Okay, okay. I move for adjournment. I move to adjourn at, let me take a look, 2:40 p.m. Can I get a seconder?
University.
I hear university seconds. I am going to seek unanimous consent.
There's no dissent.
I am also receiving no dissent. We're officially adjourned. Let me stop the recording.